Good evening and welcome back to the channel. It's been a bit since we put out a video, but we still have this one last video from our trip back from Arizona. If you've been following along, and if you haven't, I will put a link to that playlist up above. So we have several videos from that trip down there in January and February. In this video, we are leaving Imperial Dam LTVA on a Friday. Our whole thought process there was that we could get our tanks dumped, get on the road, and we only moved probably 20 miles that night.
Yeah, 20, 25, something like that.
And we headed to a harvest host, and like I said, it worked out well because then we could get up Saturday morning and have everything hooked up, everything dumped, and we could take off for the long drive day then. But that Friday night, we were at Dirty South Barbecue House, just north of Yuma. And an interesting harvest host.
Yeah.
They
were nice.
They were nice.
The food was good.
The food was good.
The parking was crazy.
The parking was very, very tight. We got in there and didn't know if we were going to get turned around to where we could come back out.
It was long and skinny, so, but once you get in there, you still got to get turned around. So that was our problem. We got up in the trees and...
Yeah, we had the whole front of the truck up in a tree just so that we could back out. It was a mess. So if you go to that harvest, yes, if you go to that harvest house, just know that it might be a little tricky for a bigger rig. And also know the service is not the speediest.
No, they were really slow.
Tammy sent me in to get food and thought I got lost.
And it was good barbecue, but it's not Kansas City barbecue.
It's definitely
by
not
no means.
We have a tendency, we always manage to go places
when we're out and about and think, oh, it's going to be like Kansas City.
Yeah, let's go get barbecue. And
not so much.
Yeah, it's like, why would we do that? But anyhow, so...
Maybe one of these days we'll learn.
Right. So we... that next morning, that Saturday morning, we did get up and we had a pretty long drive day. We were headed to Deming, New Mexico, which was another harvest host, and we were going to the D.H. Lacombe winery. I think that's how it's pronounced. I will link it down below, so in case you're wondering. But
parking was better there.
Parking was better. The wind was awful.
Yes.
It was one of those situations that we made sure we were facing into the wind just so the rig wasn't blowing back and forth all night, because it was horrible.
Yeah,
and blowing dust. But got parked, got set up, went inside, and nice.
It was a nice little place.
Nice place, great wine.
Great wine.
Food was good.
Mine was a little spicy, but it had some kind of, I can't remember exactly what, but it was a little pasta. And I'd asked the waitress, I was like, is this spicy? She said, nah. Yeah, it was, but I don't like spicy stuff, so I probably should have tried something else.
Well, and there again, our thoughts of good barbecue from Kansas City to Arizona is one thing. Their thoughts of what is spicy coming from New Mexico is a
probably wasn't spicy to them.
Right,
it was for me.
Everything.
But I still ate it, and it was good.
Yeah,
had to drink a little bit more water. So
right. So we got up that next morning, though, it's Sunday morning, and we were headed to our spot that we were going to be staying for the next week. We knew that we couldn't make the whole trip in one weekend, so we were going one weekend to stay at a spot and then stay there for the week and then head the rest of the way home. So that spot that we picked to stay was Chosa Campground. Pronunciation, I'm not sure, but it is a free campground on BLM land, but it's a spot that they had set up specifically for camping. And it was just a gravel parking lot, basically. Big area, though.
It was a large area.
And a
lot of people coming and going all week long.
There was. But the location
was great.
Yes, and especially if you're visiting either Guadalupe Mountains or Carlsbad Caverns National Park, because from where we were at, we could see Guadalupe Mountains off in the distance, and we could actually see the visitor center to Carlsbad Caverns National Park. Yeah. So very good location if you're looking to stay at either or looking to visit either one of those parks. Unfortunately,
it was windy there though too.
It was windy some, not as bad as it was previously.
Right.
But yeah,
and they had wild cows roaming around.
Yes, definitely more free range cows. And
Is that anything like free-range chickens?
Could be. But the unfortunate part of that, since we were working through the week, we really didn't have a chance, even though we were so close to the national parks, really didn't have a chance to go visit them per se.
Too much, no.
We one day took off to go drive up to the visitor center, Carlsbad Caverns, which was neat. But yes, definitely didn't get a chance to actually see in the cave at all. Unfortunately, one of these days we will make the trip back there to do that again.
And then we also want to see the bats. So we weren't there on the correct timing for that.
Right.
So
I guess they are not there in the winter.
Yeah, gone.
So once that week passed and it hit that Friday, we decided to do the same thing again. We got all hooked up on Friday night. And this time we traveled probably about 100 miles, I think, to go to Hobbs, New Mexico, to another Harvest Host. And this time it was the Drylands Brewing Company. And once again, I don't know if we didn't read the reviews well or what, but this place was a smaller place right off a busy road. And of course, Friday night.
And also, we understood there was food, thinking that they were the ones that cooked it and served it to you. It was food trucks, and the food trucks were fine. I mean, it tasted good, but it still was deceiving. They didn't let you know that.
And the problem was, when you got there, the food trucks were in the way of getting
back to where you needed to park.
Yes, because we needed to park behind the building. And so it was a very tight squeeze. Tammy ended up getting out, walking over there so she could guide me through and kind of weave me through cars and food trucks to get to the back of the building.
And when she got back there, it wasn't too bad.
Well, it
was tight, but not as bad as the one we got into the trees.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, but it took a bit to turn around, and luckily we were there early though because
then it got worse.
As the evening progressed,
and it filled up with cars. Then I don't know that we could have made it through there.
Oh, not at all, because by the probably 9 o'clock at night, there were cars surrounding the rig.
So we're not saying it was bad. We're just saying our timing that we came was probably not optimal time to show up there,
Exactly.
Because it was busy, and then they had music there that night too, didn't they?
They did.
So luckily we like music, and they really didn't keep us up or anything, but for the most part it was a good place. Just know that if you're going, arrive before 3, and maybe you won't have to deal with all the crazy of the parking. So
right. So on Saturday morning, we got up, left Drylands Brewing Company, which, of course, the parking lot was empty. Real easy to get.
Great getting out.
Exactly. And the good thing was we did make it 100 miles closer than had we not made that overnight stay. Made the trip then from Hobbs, New Mexico, and we were headed to Norman, Oklahoma. But first, there was a couple things that we saw on the way down that we didn't quite get on video that we wanted to make sure we got. So, for one, being a Chiefs fan and going through Lubbock,
go Chiefs!
We had to get the stadium, the Texas Tech Stadium there,
since Mahomes went there.
Exactly. And so we got a shot of that, and then we went on, and any of you Yellowstone fans will definitely recognize the 4 Sixes Ranch. And so we made sure that we got video of that as we were coming back as well.
Yeah, that was really neat to see. It was on both sides of the road, and it was really kind of cool.
Yeah. So we ended up getting into Norman at a pretty decent time. Mm-hmm. And we were staying there at Harvest Host. It was the Native Spirits Winery.
And we really enjoyed this one. It was kind of off the beaten path. The owner was there, and he's the one that served us, so we got to talk to him and do a lot of tastings. He let us I like to mix wines together and maybe some vodka in there with some of it. So anyways, he kind of let us, since we were the only ones in the building, kind of do our own thing.
As a winemaker, he didn't quite know what to think about her, I don't think, but
no one does.
But yeah, it was we definitely had a good time there. Got a good night to rest. And then Sunday, it was Super Bowl Sunday, so we knew we had to get back at a reasonable time.
Must.
And of course, Chiefs were playing, so
yay, Chiefs!
So we had to get back at a reasonable time for that. Not to mention, there was weather heading in from the west, and we knew it was going to be hitting that area pretty early in the morning. Rain, possibly some wintry mix, and so we wanted to definitely get ahead of that. We ended up getting out of there about 6 in the morning. I do believe it was still dark.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the rain had already started moving in, so it was getting rainy. We're headed out in the dark.
We were trying to outrun it, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, luckily, though, the sun started coming up by the time we got outside about Oklahoma City.
Yep.
And it was thereabouts that the rain started letting up, too. So we did get ahead of it, just not initially.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here editing this video and realized that we completely failed to mention that we had enough time on our way back to stop at our first Buc-ee's. So I have to show a couple clips of the Buc-ee's in Springfield, Missouri that we hit on our way back.
So got back home, got everything set up in time for the game, and got to watch the Chiefs win again.
Yay!
So, but anyhow, that concludes our whole trip to Arizona. Like I said, if you missed any of those, I will link the playlist up above, and we'll put down below as well. And we had a great time.
We did have a great time. We're actually talking about doing it again leaving after Christmas again this next year. But I think we're going to stay gone longer. We have figured out that 6 weeks just wasn't long enough. And the weather back here is so unpredictable. So I think we'll stay at least another month.
Something like that.
Something like that. We haven't totally figured it out, but that's kind of the plan. So.
But yeah, so definitely looking forward to that again. We really like the warmer weather in January.
Yes, we do.
So anyhow, we're so glad that you all have watched this video. We thank you so much, and we will see you all in the next one.